What was the weirdest, most specific job you had in your family as a kid? My grandfather was an antique map dealer, but he had a very specific obsession. He collected forged and fake maps. He believed they were more interesting than the real ones because they told a story about deception and ambition. He had hundreds of them all rolled up in tubes in his library. My grandfather was also slowly going blind. By the time I was 10, he could no longer read the fine print or see the subtle details that distinguished one map from another. So, my official family job every Saturday afternoon was to be his eyes. He would sit in his leather armchair while I would carefully unroll an old, fragile map on the floor. My job was to describe what I saw in the most minute detail possible, acting as a human microscope. He'd ask incredibly specific questions. Look at the cartouche in the bottom left, son. Is the sea monster's tongue forked or barbed? Or follow the river north from the port. Does the ink bleed slightly into the paper fibers on the western bank? The forger always pressed too hard there. I'd lie on my stomach, inches from the parchment, and report my findings. I learned to spot the difference between rag paper and wood pulp paper, to identify the faint watermark of a 17th century Dutch guild, and to tell the difference between iron gall ink and carbon ink by its sheen. I was a 10-year-old kid who could spot a counterfeit 18th century map of the Americas from 5 feet away. I didn't realize how insane this was until I was in a museum on a school trip and horrified the tour guide by loudly declaring that the map of Virginia they had on display was obviously a modern forgery because the stippling on the coastline is way too uniform.